Shucks. This was a masterclass in creating atmosphere, really unnerving, creating that draw of intrigue throughout the piece. Gave me some real David Lynch vibes where maybe the linear narrative wasn't predominant in the piece, but I sure felt something and it left me with something. And that something is the synapses making connections and forming its own story. So it's really cool to be able to be invited to this pulsing soundscape and visual journey, and we get to make what the story means to us, our projection onto the screen. I really loved the use of the music, the soundscape, the throb of it just felt like this heartbeat of the character, that longing for more, that unease with being watched, the need to transform. And I thought it was also really cool that he was watching the screen as he was being watched by that spirit that haunts him. There's something really lovely about that. And then us watching him as well. So that nice layered effect. But I thought this was really well executed. And I especially really liked the lighting effect. It was used, I think, twice, but in the attic where the flashes of light and you can only piece together parts of it based on the quick space of light before the darkness. And that gave me some sort of overarching tie to the experience I had watching this.
Shucks is so much to process. It's a really grandiose piece. It's very Lynchian in so many ways, not just in its dark style, but also in its use of visual repetitions that we see a lot, giving different meanings to something after seeing it, a repeated amount of times, giving it new context in different and fresh ways. I also really enjoyed. There's just a grittiness to it, and I don't just mean that from the darkness, but I mean that truly from the style and the aesthetic, the cinematography. It feels there's just this sense of grit and dirt and uncleanliness, that we're seeing something very raw and unsanitized. The biggest moment of kind of calm and collectiveness in it, I found, was when the protagonist of sorts is fitting that shirt on himself. That's the one moment that it really feels like it truly stops to breathe and kind of take a moment. So that one really stuck out towards the end. But great work here. The music feels very nostalgic and old school, and it really creates something that's lasting in the mind.
Shucks. Wow. There's a lot to say about this, I think. It could be interpreted so many different ways. And with the chaotic music, at least that's how it felt to me, and the black and white and the silence of it, being a silent film, not any dialogue, non-linear and somewhat, I would say, symbolic. And it just kept me intrigued and guessing throughout. My analytical brain was trying to figure out what everything meant, and then I realized I should just go for the ride because it was quite the journey, with the different visuals and the lighting. There was like a moment in the attic where the lighting was kind of flashing on and off, and I thought I saw a rooster. I wasn't sure. So it made me feel sort of like I was having a really weird dream and not really sure what it meant. Trying to take meaning from it and all the different things that I was seeing jumping around, and who was this person? Were they a serial killer? Were we in their minds? Very interesting. Jerky camera movements and the corn and the shucking and the title of it being Shucks. I was trying to figure out what the corn meant and why it was a corn head at one point. The woman as a lamp, and then it looked like somebody was tied up in the basement, and then there was a leak in the pipe. I couldn't quite put all this stuff together, but it was intriguing. I wondered what the masks meant and the man with the mask. Uh, just very interesting, and really did keep me guessing. And it was quite an endeavor to take this on, this type of like non-linear silent film, and have it be 50 minutes long. I just thought it was quite interesting and creative, and I liked the end credits, how you kind of integrated them into this world. So that was really interesting and really thought-provoking. So good job.
I don't think this film would have worked as well in color as it does in black and white. It kind of gives it that old school vibe for the silent film. It really does. It goes with the music, with that kind of grunge feeling. I think if it was in color, it wouldn't have worked as well. So it was a really good aesthetic that the filmmaker went with. The costuming for the Corn's scary costume was amazing. The wardrobe was really well done. It was terrifying. It was something that they could probably make a full-length film that was just focusing on some horror character that's just this Shucks guy instead of just this 40-minute feature. It's one of those things where it just gives you the chills just to look at this costume. The way the film starts, you don't really know what's going on either. It's a bunch of close-ups. So it really builds that momentum for something creepy. It's just really well done.